This program is brought to you by cable franchise fees and generous donations from viewers like you.
Hello and welcome to the Amherst Weekly Report with Amherst Media. I'm Abby Gracie.
And I'm Asia Reed. 3 incumbents were re-elected to the Amherst School Committee on Tuesday. Benjamin Harrington, Peter Demling, and Allison McDonald all maintain their seats, while Irv Rhodes, who previously served from 2009 to 2012, will be returning to the school committee after a 9-year absence. Jennifer Page, the Associate Director for Strategic Communications for the Center for Data Science at UMass Amherst, is the newcomer to the board. Page was narrowly defeated in 2017 when she ran against Peter Demling. 6 new members were also elected to Amherst Town Council, increasing its racial diversity as well as the number of women serving on it. At-large incumbents Andy Steinberg and Mandy Jo Haneke both retain their seats, while District 3 Councilor George Ryan and District 4 Councilor Evan Ross lost their re-election bids. Alicia Walker, co-chairwoman of the Community Safety Working Group, won an at-large seat. Joining her is new District 3 Councilor Jennifer Taub and new District 4 Councilors Anika Lopez and Pamela Rooney, who both won contested elections, while new District 1 Councilor Michelle Miller and new District 5 Councilor Anna Devlin Gauthier both ran unopposed. The Amherst Forward Political Action Committee endorsed all 3 at-large winners. However, Walker rejected the endorsement. The new council will be sworn in January.
A $36.3 million Jones Library renovation and expansion will proceed after Tuesday's election resulted in an overwhelming affirmation of the decision. Based on the unofficial results compiled by the town clerk's office, the project was favored by a nearly 2/3 majority of voters, with 3,187 saying yes and 1,683 saying no. The renovation has previously been supported by 10 of 12 town councilors and had unanimous support from the library's elected trustees. Feingold Alexander Architects of Boston are developing the plans for the library, which include a bigger children's room more suitable for family programs, a dedicated teen room, an enlarged and climate-controlled area for special collections, and an improvement for space for the English as a Second Language program. Community members will be additionally able to voice their own input for the project as it goes underway. Kent Farber, chairman of the Vote Yes for Our Library Committee, said, quote, "Over the next 6 months, there will be many opportunities for residents to share their ideas and opinions as detailed plans are developed to ensure the promise of a project that is the smart choice for Amherst on all levels, financially, environmentally, and socially. Work is set to begin sometime in 2022, and the library services will be offered from a different site for 72 weeks until its planned reopening in fall 2023.
6th grade students that attend Amherst Public Schools will have their classes moved to the Amherst Regional Middle Schools starting in 2023. Current 4th grade students at Fort River, Wildwood, and Crocker Farm Elementary will be the first to move to the middle school for the 2023 to 2024 school year. The Amherst School Committee took up the recommendation from Superintendent Michael Morris, which resulted in a 4-0 vote. The idea was proposed in order to give 6th grade students new opportunities, such as earlier access to theater, sports, and world languages, which they did not have before. Before the students switch school buildings, a curriculum and transition plan must be developed and approved by both the regional entity that owns the building and the Amherst Regional Schools. The recommendation also includes a proposed plan for replacing the buildings for the Wildwood and Fort River Elementary Schools by 2026. The buildings are currently too small for the amount of students enrolled, and teachers have even been displaced due to the space constraints.
UMass Amherst Chancellor Subaswamy released an email last week about the formation of the Black Advisory Council, or BAC. The group has been forming for a few months, according to the email, and is in close coordination with Nefertiti Walker, Vice Chancellor and Chief Diversity Officer. The co-chairs of the group are Whitney Battle-Baptiste, a professor and director for the W.E.B. Du Bois Center, and Wilmore Webley, an associate professor and associate dean of the Graduate School's Office of Inclusion and Engagement. The group will also be made of other administration, faculty, staff, and students. They will meet once a month to talk about large-scale topics, including the education, opportunity, access, well-being, and success of Black people at UMass. The UMass Office of Equity and Inclusion will continue to handle day-to-day issues in the Black community, allowing the BAC to make foundational changes for the university. After a semester of receiving racist emails and enduring other hate crimes on campus, Black students at the university continually addressed to the administration that their responses to the racism was not enough. Subaswamy is hoping that the formation of the BAC will help Black students at UMass feel heard.
Happier Valley Comedy, or HVC, is now open after having their doors closed since March of 2020. HVC is a nonprofit that, quote, brings laughter, joy, and ease to Western Massachusetts and the world. The organization's shows and classes have resumed, and even a new space called the Next Door Lounge is opening up to expand the performance area. A lobby and box office will also be added to this new addition. The artistic director of HVC, Scott Braidman, says that the Next Door Lounge is being utilized as a hangout before shows to relax, play games, and have a drink. HVC does not yet have its own bar, so comedy goers are encouraged to BYOB. Braidman is in the process of applying for a liquor license. A small stage has also been added to the facility, welcoming improv acts at 9 p.m. on Saturdays. In early November, storytelling and stand-up classes will take place in the new lounge for the very first time. A monthly open mic will also begin in November.
2 weeks ago, Smith College said they will replace all student loans with grants from the college to eliminate debt as part of its undergraduate financial aid package starting next fall. More than 60% of the college's students are receiving need-based institutional aid, according to the Daily Hampshire Gazette. The school will be also giving $1,000 startup grants to select incoming students whose families are contributing less than $7,000 to their tuition. There will also be launch grants of $2,000 given to seniors to help them transition into life after college. President Kathleen McCartney said in a phone interview with the Gazette, quote, "They're going to be able to leave school without debt, and I think that means it's going to be easier for them to start careers, to go to graduate school." The grants will be funded with returns on the school's endowment, now at $2.6 million, thanks to McCartney, and from alumni donations. The college's Vice President of Enrollment, Joanna May, said the students are still able to take out federal or private loans for any costs that they have left. Smith is now part of a growing list of elite schools in the area who have removed student loans and replaced them with grants or scholarships, including Amherst College, Yale, Harvard, and others.
The indoor mask requirement for Massachusetts public schools has been extended through the start of 2022. The mandate was previously in effect through November 1st and now will be in place through at least January 15th in accordance with the recommendations of medical experts and state health officials. The extension marks the second time that the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, or DESE, has lengthened the duration of the policy. According to Education Secretary James Pizer, the extension will allow time for the elementary school students to receive the COVID-19 vaccine, as children ages 5 to 11 are now eligible to receive it. In the meantime, education officials say that they would, quote, continue to evaluate and consider other criteria that could be used in the future to lift the mask requirement based on public health data. If schools can demonstrate a vaccination rate of at least 80% among students and staff, they will be able to submit paperwork to DESE to lift the mandate for vaccinated individuals.
$93 million is being awarded to the College of Information and Computer Sciences at UMass Amherst. Robert and Donna Manning donated $18 million to endow the college as part of their $50 million gift to UMass, the largest in the school system's history. That was announced in September. This, in combination with the $75 million state grant announced by Governor Charlie Baker, will have a significant impact on expanding and enhancing the college's facilities. The financial support will be used to hire new faculty, offer peer mentoring, and to create more opportunities for hands-on learning. It will also allow for computing research to be conducted in areas ranging from artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, quantum information systems, and healthcare. Laura Haas, the dean of the newly named Robert and Donna Manning College of Information and Computer Sciences, stated that the money will allow the college to offer scholarships in order to make the program more accessible to students of all backgrounds. This will coincide with their mission of increasing diversity in computing. The college currently ranks in the top 20 computer science programs in North America, and its specialty in artificial intelligence ranks 11th.
The state's Department of Public Health Bureau of Community Health and Prevention awarded Amherst an Equitable Approaches to Public Safety grant of $449,949 to fund the town's unarmed community responder program. The Community Response for Equity, Safety and Service Program, or CRESS, is anticipated to launch in February as an alternative way to handle emergencies that the Amherst police currently respond to. Town Manager Paul Bockelman said in a statement that, quote, "The Amherst Town Council's goal is to explore alternative options of providing services to respond to issues of homelessness, mental health, and other non-criminal calls to emergency dispatch." CRESS was formed through the work of the Community Safety Working Group, led by the BIPOC community members, and the state's financial backing will help support its launch. The grant includes funding for a project manager and mental health providers, as well as training, evaluation, and other related costs. $130,000 is included in the municipal budget to support community responder positions, administrative expenses, and a program director.
On October 29th, Amherst Cinema returned to full capacity, but this time things are a little different. All patrons will need to show proof of a full COVID vaccination or a negative COVID test within 72 hours of their projected movie showing, along with a valid form of photo ID at the door. The cinema says this screening will take extra time, so patrons should arrive early to the shows. Moviegoers are still required to wear masks unless eating or drinking in their seats. Amherst Cinema will continue to hold virtual movie showings and masked mornings on Saturdays and Sundays, where theaters are topped at 25% capacity, and concession stands are closed, so all patrons are required to keep their masks on at all times. The cinema is one of multiple places in the area requiring these new rules, including the Mullins Center and Fine Arts Center at UMass Amherst, and the Academy of Music in Northampton. Now, here's Tyler Baraldi with sports.
Thanks, Abby. Even with Halloween spirit sweeping the nation, perhaps the scariest sight for UMass was the scoreboard of their game against Liberty, reading 62-17 and marking the fifth loss by a margin of at least 38 points for Minutemen football. The squad was yet again dominated in all facets of the game, with the Flames passing for 6 touchdowns with 3 separate throwers, alongside 3 rushing touchdowns with 2 separate runners. Wide receiver Rico Arnold managed to catch a second-half touchdown for UMass, and running back Jared Chisari reached pay dirt as well. But by halftime, Liberty was already leading 41-3, so this was far too little, far too late. UMass football will have to attempt to put the past behind them as they return home for homecoming weekend, playing the Rhode Island Rams tomorrow at 3:30. Amherst College Mammoth football fared far better this weekend, beating the formerly undefeated Wesleyan Cardinals 16-14. Mammoth and Cardinal fans alike were fittingly treated to a thriller as the game reached quadruple overtime and saw Amherst come back from a 14-point deficit at the half to keep their championship aspirations alive. Cornerback Ricky Goodson yet again came in clutch, intercepting Wesleyan's attempt at a scoring rebuttal in the 4th overtime, effectively ending the game as a result and nabbing him his second consecutive NES CAC Defensive Player of the Week honor. The Mammoths will look to keep their momentum alive as they travel to play the Trinity Bantams tomorrow at 1 o'clock. UMass hockey enters this weekend with momentum as well, having beaten Merrimack in back-to-back contests on Friday and Saturday, getting them back on track to stake their claim as the team to beat in Hockey East. Neither game provided either team with a moment of comfortability, as both remained nail-biters until the end, with Friday quite literally coming down to the final seconds and Saturday's contest reaching overtime. Friday's game ended with a goal from senior Colin Felix in the final 5 seconds of the third to put UMass up 2-1, just narrowly dodging what appeared to be certain overtime. Their next game was far more action-packed, with a final score reaching 5-4, ending with freshman Scott Morrow drilling his first career goal just under 2 minutes into the overtime period. With the squad's only 2 losses firmly placed in the rearview, they'll attempt to continue their hot streak against Providence this weekend, starting tonight at 7 p.m. in the Mullins Center. Massachusetts professional sports was much more of a mixed bag this week, as one team achieved their best win of the season, and the other quite possibly sent thousands of onlookers into a depressive episode. The Patriots pulled off an underdog victory over LA, beating the Chargers 27-24, with Bill Belichick's defense yet again playing kryptonite to Justin Herbert's Superman. This victory was especially important as it keeps New England's playoff hopes alive, and furthermore highlights Mac Jones' reliability at the helm. Regardless of what happens throughout the rest of the season, it's safe to say that the future is bright for New England. But for now, they'll need to focus on playing the Panthers this Sunday at 1 o'clock. The Celtics, on the other hand, appear to be in disarray, losing to both the Wizards and the Bulls, with the loss in Chicago resulting from a blown 19-point lead. Even following a victory over the struggling Orlando Magic, Boston will need a drastic change in team mindset to find success in the coming weeks, with games against the Mavericks and the Raptors looming on the horizon. Back to you, Abby.
Thanks, Tyler, and thank you for tuning in to the Amherst Weekly Report with Amherst Media. I'm Abby Gracie.
And thank you to our director, Jeff, and best of luck at East Hampton. I'm Asia Reed, and we'll see you again at the same time next week.